let's start with two teams that are the trendy picks in the American League. One of course, is part of our 30 for 30 coverage today, and the other one are the White Sox. I'll start with the Blue Jays and get them in the mix. Dan Shulman a little later on here, too. Listen, Toronto is a team that is a very interesting team to keep an eye on. You love the young players. They got a lot of swagger for a team that is youthful, that hasn't really accomplished a whole heck of a lot. Last year's 2 playoff games against Tampa notwithstanding. But they have played the Yankees well. They got 3 or 4 young hitters that are sort of fearless, which you love. They have a ball club that, has got a lot of youth in us, got power. They bring Springer in there, who is going to be a big factor. Let's hope he plays 140-something games. But if he does, and I would think this first year or two he will, I think he'll do an excellent job. He's not going to be trying too hard because of that contract. This man's won championships. He's a big game hitter. I love him. So from that standpoint, he's going to have a good addition. He's going to have a good influence on the young team. Guerrero's lost a lot of weight. They got a lot of different parts. They can maneuver with guys. I mean, they got a good offensive team. I mean, there's no other way around it. They're going to hit. Simeon's going to help him, too, move him to second base. He's been around the block a little bit. So, I have no problem with their ball club and their bullpen. Yates, I think, will be a factor. He didn't pitch, obviously, bone spurs there, but the last 18 and 19 was very good. 53 out of 57 in save opportunities, which is an overrated statistic anyway. But still, it's when you blow the save more so than how many you blow. But he's sitting there, too, and he will help that bullpen. The question with Toronto is, there's a couple questions. There's 3. The tangible question is the starting pitching. They do not have big-time starting pitching, and they're asking for some comebacks / miracles. Matz, who's been a big underachiever with the Mets, they got rid of him. Boom. What do you expect out of him? Obviously, Roark. I mean, he's a guy that has bounced around. At best, he's been a 4th or a 5th starter, and now he's going to, be probably a 4th starter, maybe even a 3rd. What to expect out of him? Robbie Ray, if he throws the ball over the plate, okay. But what to expect out of Robbie Ray? He's going to be able to make 30 starts and win 15 games? He hasn't done it. 1 year? So fingers crossed tightly with him. And then, of course, Pearson, who is a big prospect, but has done nothing in his career. He's got a big arm. Listen, if he stays, he got a chance. But, he's made 2 starts in his big league career. What can I expect? And, of course, Ryu, who I know is good, but he doesn't pitch a lot. He's been hurt an awful lot in his career. Can he make 30 starts? Those are some question marks. The durability of Ryu, what to expect out of Pearson, and can they get anything out of those 3 guys in the rotation that, let's be fair, the bottom half, you're throwing darts against the wall. So we shall see. The other 2 aspects of the Blue Jays that I'll be a little worried about, they're going to be bouncing around a lot the first half of the year. They're going to be playing in Florida. They're going to play probably in Buffalo. Shapiro said that. And I don't even know if they're going to get to Toronto up at the Rogers Center. So that's a lot of bouncing around for a team that, not going to have a home, that's theirs. And so there's, they can play a lot of road games. So that's number 1. You'd be a little worried about that with Toronto. And the other thing with the Blue Jays, I think you have to be very concerned about it. You got to be, they are trendy. And I hate trendy teams. It makes me very nervous with the trendy team. They're in a division with the Yankees, which they play well against the Yankees, but, that means they'll probably be fighting for a wild card spot. And, you got to wonder about the fact that everybody thinks they could be good. Sometimes when they think they're going to be good, they're not as good as you like. So that's the issue with the Blue Jays. And the White Sox have some of this same scenario with them, too. I would be somewhat, they're going to hit, the Blue Jays should hit 2. White Sox are going to score runs. They have enough offense. They'll get Abreu back in time. Moncada, obviously, Anderson at shortstop. They have this young kid who they think is going to be a great DH with power. Listen, they have offensive player. Robert is a big offensive player. Jimenez got a chance to be a big they got a good offensive team. Nobody's going to sit there and argue with their offense. I have some of the same issues with them that I do a little bit with Toronto. I think their bullpen will be pretty good. Hendricks should help out there. They didn't really need a closer because Colomé pretty good. But Hendricks, misses bats in a good postseason. So, okay, they wanted to go with Hendricks in a bullpen. I can live with that. And he's tough. I like what I saw out of him last year in big games. But their starting rotation, it's a little better than Toronto's. But their back end of the rotation is up in the air. Lance Lynn is an innings eater, but, I know he was very good with Texas, but I got to see a lot more before I think in big games he's going to help me out. I mean, Giolito is a guy who had a very good year last year and a very good postseason game. Can I see another year, please? Before I'm convinced that he is an ace of a big-time team. Then, of course, you got Keuchel in there, who is still, he's not as good as he was, say, in 2017, 16, and 15. A little removed from that 3 years. And the back end of the rotation's a little iffy, so I'd be a little concerned about the White Sox. Same thing goes with them, too. Not so much the home field, they're not nomadic, but I am a little worried about a trendy scenario for them. They did not play well last year with pressure on them late. They collapsed. They can argue any way they want. They collapsed at the end of the year. They lost 7 of their last 8. Did it mean much? Probably not. The White Sox got the A's in the first round because of that collapse, and Minnesota ended up with Houston, and Houston turned out to be better than both the A's and the White Sox, and they won, both those series. So I don't know if it really cost them much outside of some pride, and they ended up as a low seed. So, that would concern me a little bit with the pressure on the line, and then they lost their last 2 games to the Athletics. So when you think about it, the last 11 games that they had last year, they lost 9 of the 11 and said goodnight and fired a manager. Not great. So we keep an eye on that from that standpoint. Oh, manager, who can forget La Russa? I have no issues with him. I know a lot of people are going to be concerned if he could, identify with the younger player. I heard the same thing. It's a bad comparison because it's a different sport, and it's a long time ago. But I heard the same issues with Vermeil when he came back off that long hiatus with the Eagles, and he went to St. Louis, and people wondered if he was going to fit in with the modern-day athlete. He ended up winning the Super Bowl. So I have no issues with La Russa. La Russa's a good manager. It's accountability, but he protects his players to a fault. And he will go out there and he will, what he's doing. He'll be completely prepared on a game-in, game-out basis. I know he's revved up. He's raring to go. I have no issues with La Russa. 76, 86. Good manager is a good manager. Him manage fine. No issues there. I'm a little worried about the bullseye on their back. Team is expected to do pretty well. Division is gettable. There's no great teams in the division. Minnesota's pretty good, not great. But the White Sox have not been here, really in big spots before. How will they respond? And I don't love their starting pitching. It's decent. It isn't great. It's decent. So I'm a little worried about the starting pitching, a little worried about the bullseye in their back. They're at 91 over-under. I think that's too high, maybe 90, right around that number. I think that's too high. The Blue Jays at 86.5 is 50-50. You can take it, think they can swing their way to 90 wins, or you can say, geez, really? With that staff, I'll go 84 and 78. Either way you want with the 2 teams. White Sox, I would take the under. I got to see this again. Blue Jays, I can go either way.